What's popping, y'all? Maxi, or I should say Fivio Foreign, he decides to throw some comments towards Plaqueboymax that Plaqueboymax quickly addressed and exposed the hell out of him. And we're going to get into that and some other comments that Fivio Foreign made in that particular interview that are egregious in a second. But first, I'm going to play you guys the clip and the interaction between Plaqueboymax and Fivio Foreign and his reaction to it.
I went on the stream with Plaqueboymax, and I just say that he wasn't lit. But he wasn't as lit
as those at that time.
Right, so it's not the streamer that's lit. They like the platform. So it's what happens on the platform that people like the platform. People don't really like the individuals.
But look how fast that moment went super viral. You was able to take control of that moment, make it work in your favor, take whatever went, turn it positive in your favor, come back out, went viral with the record. But that's what I'm talking about.
Favi, if that's the case, oh my God, bro. Why are you asking me to do a song? Why? That don't make no sense. What's wrong with you?
So here, he aired him out completely. He's like, yo, let me make a first day home song. Now, first of all, not Plaqueboymax, Maxi, Fivio Foreign. Fivio Foreign is the first rapper I've ever seen that got locked up, came out, and nobody knew that either of them happened. I didn't see a single. You could go on Twitter and search hashtag Fivio Foreign, and for the entire duration that he was locked up, there is not a single tweet associated with that. That is not just scary, that is haunting. Nobody's even saying, oh, where is a Fivio Foreign? So if you are able to disappear, nobody's wondering where you are, and you're locked up, and nobody is saying free you, what does that tell you? And him talking about like, oh, nah, people love the platform. Do people love you, or do they love the song that they associate with you? And what's the last song that they associate with you? I don't know, off the grid. The last bar that I remember from Fivio Foreign is, I'm the real Plaqueboymax, and then he proceeded to get locked up. So the real Plaqueboymax, can you please stand up? He's the only one standing up outside in the free world. So we don't even know why. Oh no, yeah, Fivio Foreign apparently had threatened some lady. I think it was like T, that long T word that they associate with people that cover their heads and things like that. You know, like not Saddam actually, like Osama and things like that. I don't even know if we could say that word on YouTube. But yeah, so threats like that. I think they said he pointed a blick at some lady or something, which, what kind of nutball activity is that? And he went and sat down for a while, came out, didn't drop any music. People were like, wait, he was locked up? That all happened. And then he says, oh, Plaqueboymax was not that big back then. Are you tripping? He was huge when he went there. He was already gigantic. Now, he wasn't as big as he is right now, but he was huge. And the issue that he had with you, and this is the thing too, Plaqueboymax is still giving this guy grace because he's saying, yo, I mess with the dude. Now, hold on. If you mess with the dude, why didn't you reply to his text? That's what I'm saying, because he clearly texted you that before that interview came out, and you just aired him out, left him on scene, left him on read, or left him on delivered. I think it's more devious to leave somebody on delivered personally. So you just left him on read. You didn't tell him like, hey man, I don't know if we should do this right now. I'm really busy. We'll see in a couple of months. I might not have time for that. But hey, maybe Max is not like a person that wants to give confrontation, and he's just like, you know what, I'm just not going to reply to this because I don't have time for it right now. But he definitely read it and remembered it because he was able to pull it up instantly. So there, yeah, but he does mess with the dude if he had him on his stream, because I think he was saying that Lil TJ, yeah, so he had Fivio on his stream, and that's when Lil TJ came. And Lil TJ came because Fivio had invited him, because Lil TJ was like, I didn't even know where I was going. And then the whole smoking incident happened. So you disrespected the guy, and you were talking about like people love the platform. No. You are completely wrong. You are 100,000,000,000% wrong. There are a subsection of viewers that maybe inflate, and not inflate in a negative way or in a bot way. They inflate the viewer count of a Plaqueboymax because they are interested in events and his collaboration with rappers, and they will watch that. But it's not just because of you. They might watch that for any rapper that's popping, and they want to see the interaction between the rapper and the streamer. But Plaqueboymax by himself, no, people are fans of him. How do you think he grew the platform? He didn't grow it off the back of rappers. He grew it off of the back of his personality, him reacting to stuff, him entertaining his chat, how personable he is. Like, most streamer relationships are parasocial. It's not really based on, I won't say it's not really based on content, because that's denigrating streamers. And I've always said streamers have a harder job, and it is harder to be a streamer than a YouTuber. I have always said this. But I think for YouTube, it's more so people can be fans of the content and not like the person, maybe even hate the person, but they're just like, yo, I mess with the content though, so I gotta keep watching it. How many people are like that with Vlad? They do not like Vlad. They may even hate Vlad, but they're like, yo, this interview is hitting, so I gotta watch it. And Vlad is conducting the interview as well. So with Plaqueboymax, that's not the case. They're just, or streamers in general, they're good at building these parasocial connections. So for people to have a parasocial relationship with the person, they gotta mess with the person, not just whatever content they're generating. And that just goes to show, like, when the guy's just sitting there on his desktop, he's got 20,000 plus people watching. So if you're saying people are just a fan of the platform, then Fivio Foreign, when you go live, you should have a ton of people watching you because they're fans of you, right? Or are they just fans of your music? That's another question you should ask yourself. And then a lot of people decided to grill Fivio Foreign. So yeah, I don't think this was a good way to handle the situation. I think he should have just said, like, yeah, it was a good opportunity. Especially knowing that you had asked him to hop on a stream with him. You should just say, yeah, we're trying to do something again. That was an unfortunate circumstance, that it was like a misunderstanding, whatever the case may be. Because for you to have done that Plaqueboymax stream and then have pointed a blick at an innocent lady that lives in your same apartment complex, and then do time and come out and still have not learned anything, or that's a demonstration that you haven't learned anything because of the way you refer to Plaqueboymax. And I could see in his brain the gears were turning. There wasn't like WD-40 sprayed on those gears, so it was like a little bit of a creaking. He's like, and you could think he was like, wait, hold on, I don't want to say this in a way that's going to offend him if he sees it, but I do want to get my point across. And it just came out not so hot. Fivio Foreign, you cannot formulate these things on your own. You need somebody to do them for you, or you just need to keep it cordial and say, like, yeah, it was a great opportunity. Hope we link up again. How hard is that to say? But I think it was around Jim Jones, and he's got respect for Jim Jones, so he feels like he's got to kind of play the too cool guy like Jim Jones likes to play. Because a later clip is when, I'm just going to play you guys the clip, man. This is so funny.
Can I just say all right, let me just say one thing. What I feel. I grew up with like Sosa, Gino. And I'm not saying that the man is wacky. He's not a legend. He's been out for years. So I got a song with him, and I got a song on the album. And the album got a Grammy. But I can't sit there and say a Nas bar to you, or a song. I like One Mic, or like a song that's like.
But I can.
It's just not me.
So, but I understand. So that's what I want the people to know. Like. But I can, because Nas was my era. You understand what I'm saying? Like, Nas was my era. Like I came up fucking with Nas. Like, we knew, I know the Nas shit, you heard? But moving forward, I started a whole new era and a whole new genre and a generation of people that you did. But I just be doing me. But I'm just telling you how that was. So now that we on that type of shit, so who were some of your biggest influences as rappers coming up? Like, who made you feel like you wanted to become a rapper? Who was some of the people that you wanted to dress like? Like, let me hear some of that, because that's that's the essence of what makes a nigga become a basketball player. What makes a nigga become, like, who was that for you?
I'm gonna keep it real. I was infatuated with Chief Keef in Chicago. The shit was
the Chief.
It was just like, it was crazy. I liked it. Meek Mills. Pain was crazy. I loved Dipset. Jim Jones, Joel Santana.
Thank you.
So here, Fivio talks about who he grew up on. And Fivio Foreign is like, what, 35, 36 years old? One of the funniest Vlad clips, which is why I also mentioned Vlad, is when he asked Fivio Foreign his age, and he just started stuttering. Or like what year he was born. But I think too many people started grilling Fivio Foreign, talking about like, this guy's talking about he grew up on Chief Keef when he's 35 years old. Well, Chief Keef is 30 years old. And when Chief Keef got on, he was 16. So for Fivio Foreign to be listening to Chief Keef when he was 21, it's not outside the norm, really. Because what standard are you trying to set? That a person should only listen to rappers that are their age or older? And he grew up in the 90s. I would say, realistically, I'm significantly younger than Fivio Foreign, and I wouldn't say that I grew up on Chief Keef. Like, Chief Keef was huge while I was like young, but I would more so say I grew up on Wayne and Wayne, Jay, Yeezy, and DMX, and Kid Cudi, and who else? I would say I grew up on those before I say I grew up on Chief Keef, and I'm a lot younger than Fivio Foreign. So Fivio Foreign, I think he's just saying that that's who had the most impact on him as well. Like, he's like, he didn't really know too much Nas, which is understandable. I don't think he should get grilled too much for that. Dipset, it makes sense. Like, Dipset, they had the fashion. I feel like, especially in New York, especially in certain neighborhoods in New York, if you weren't fly, and Nas was not associated with being fly to the younger gen, like let's say somebody born in 1990, then you weren't looked at in the same way as somebody that was. Especially think about the 2000s. You had Rockaware, you had, what else did you have? You had G-Unit, you had all of these brands and this fashion, this intersection that was going on with fashion and hip hop, and people had their own brands. So realistically, and they had good music too. So people with good music had all these brands. So it was like this whole lifestyle that was going on. So it makes sense why maybe he wouldn't pay attention to Nas. I wouldn't say I grew up on Nas, but I knew Nas songs. I knew Nas for sure. And when you look at Fivio Foreign's music, the guy came up in Brooklyn drill. So is it any surprise that Chief Keef was the guy that influenced him? I think this is just like a little bit of ageism that was coming out when people were trying to come at Fivio Foreign. And I do like how Jim Jones gave credit to Nas too. But then Jim Jones goes on a tangent of like, yeah, you know, like I brought in this whole you did not bring a whole generation in, please. I influenced you had one song. One song in a remix. That's all you had. Now, when Jim Jones talks about the music he's making now, maybe it's better. I haven't checked it out. I should give it a chance before I judge it, and I have not judged it yet. But that's just the way I see the situation. I think, I don't know if Plaqueboymax really messes with Fivio Foreign. I do think he does because he had him on his stream the first time, and he didn't need to have him, and nobody was really talking about Fivio Foreign when he had him. But hopefully they're able to patch things up. I like Fivio Foreign, personally. I think he developed as a rapper. I don't think he's the brightest guy, and I don't think he has malice in his heart when he says things like this, but you got to know how you're handling yourself in public. I mean, you've been in the game for quite a while now. It's been at least 5 years. Since 2020, you got into the game. And you're a little bit older, so you have more experience, so you should know. But let me know what y'all think about this in the comments. Like and subscribe and hit the notification bell if you enjoyed, and I'm going to see y'all in the next one.